Hey, about Mom's birthday party next week, this year, just the two of you should come. At my in-laws, we'd all gather for a meal every year to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday. I showed up for the first year after getting married, but I didn't invite you, my mother-in-law told me, so I didn't attend the birthday party the following year. That day's gonna be a celebration with my fiancé. Plus, we want to talk about rebuilding the house. My brother-in-law was set to get married, planning to live with his parents after the wedding. They were considering rebuilding the family home into a duplex for this. When we arrived at my in-laws on the day, there were only 5 chairs placed around the table in the dining room. Huh? Looks like we're 1 seat short. Your fiancé's coming too, right? My husband's question was met with a chuckle from my mother-in-law. Who invited this person? I said before I didn't want anyone but family at my birthday party, remember? It was like hearing the same line from 2 years ago. I invited her. Wanted to clear things up before my fiancé arrives. My brother-in-law was directly addressing his request to me. I'd prefer if Mia would refrain from joining us at any events other than weddings and funerals from now on. My fiancé is from a fine university working at a top company. What? So what? I mean, Mia should know your place. With a lower education and no parents, you can't really be part of the family. Is having no degree or parents really something to be ashamed of? I understand. I'll be leaving. I won't attend your wedding, and if you wish, I'll also refrain from attending your parents' funerals. Yeah, let's go. I'll also stop associating with them. Have a nice life with the 4 of you. As my husband started walking, pushing me forward, my brother-in-law called out in a panic. Hey, Alex! Wait a minute. There's still something I need to discuss with you. And you have to meet my fiancé. What? There's no way I'm dealing with folks who exclude my wife. Forget the previous conversation. You handle it yourself. With that, my husband swung the living room door open with a bang and started walking towards the entrance. Though we could hear the voices of 3 people calling my husband's name, we didn't look back and slammed the iron gate shut as we left. Unbeknownst to us, someone was watching us from afar. And this would significantly alter the fate of my in-law family. I'm Mia Thompson, 31 years old. After graduating from a vocational school, I've been working as a caregiver at a nursing home with care services for about 10 years. I got married 3 years ago, and although my husband and I live together, it's sad that we haven't been blessed with children yet. I met my husband, Alex, a year older than me, through a friendly coworker. Lamenting your lifelong single status, my coworker arranged a dinner party with her boyfriend's friend. Alex, you see, is the most successful among his friends. A university grad working at a leading food company. And he makes good money. Hearing this introduction made me nervous at first, but the more we talked, the more we realized how similar our values were. Being with him was so enjoyable and comforting. It was the first time I felt this way with anyone. Will you marry me? I feel so natural only when I'm with you, Mia. A year into our relationship, he proposed. I was happy, but suddenly, I felt anxious. I'm thrilled. But won't they oppose me as your partner? I lost both my parents in a car accident when I was young. After their death, my grandmother, who I was living with, raised me until she passed away from illness when I was 16. From then until I turned 20, I was taken in and cared for by my uncle, my father's brother. Besides, I'm a caregiver. I'm proud of my job, but it's seen as challenging work. My aunt's mother, Mary, who needed care, was living with my uncle's family. Mary was always kind to me, who looked anxious. Helping with caregiving, I became close to my aunt and quickly became comfortable at my uncle's house. Between my grandmother and Mary, I can't thank the 2 grandmothers enough. That's why I decided to pursue caregiving as my lifelong career and went to a vocational school. It's okay. If they oppose you for such reasons, I'll choose you over my parents, Mia. His serious expression surprised me. Actually, my parents might be the problem. My husband has been sending $1,000 a month to his parents since he started working, but he seems to dislike them for some reason. Then, I'll make my resolution and choose to follow you. The future is uncertain. Still, I decided to trust him and accepted his proposal. Marrying my husband indeed was the beginning of a thorny path. I felt it for the first time when we went to report our marriage to my in-laws. Their home, facing a street in a residential area, was an old house, surrounded by a block wall with a small garden and an iron gate. Welcome. You must be Mia. Please, come in. Initially, my in-laws greeted us warmly, but the atmosphere quickly became tense. I hear Mia is a caregiver. Which university did you graduate from? I graduated from a vocational school for welfare. Not a university graduate? I wondered if I had said something odd. Then, I felt a slight laugh from my brother-in-law, who was also present. My husband's brother, Joseph, a tall and handsome man, is still single and living at home, despite being 5 years older than my husband. Did your parents not say anything? At that moment, I didn't even understand why my in-laws were so surprised. Yes, I lost my parents when I was young. My uncle and his wife, who were like parents to me, supported my dream of becoming a caregiver. I said it cheerfully, but my in-laws' expressions remained stiff. Their smiles did not return. Your parents are deceased? That must have been hard. Every time I share my background, the atmosphere becomes like this. However, what I felt from my in-laws was neither pity nor sympathy. If anything, it was more like disdain. I'm marrying Mia. We came here today to announce our marriage, not to ask for permission. Don't worry, we're not having a big ceremony. My husband said that, then took my hand and stood up. My in-laws remained silent, but my brother-in-law followed us to the entrance to see us off. It's tough on you too, huh? But make sure you keep sending money home like you've been doing. That's the only way you can show your parents respect now. Then, with a smirk, my brother-in-law said, "See ya, Mia," and closed the door. It wasn't a specific thing he said, but it left a really bad taste in my mouth. Sorry about that. You see now? That's what I hate about my family. They judge people only by their education or titles. My brother-in-law was smart, and because he followed the path laid out by our parents without a hitch, he was adored by them. Maybe having such a successful son changes how you see others. With my brother-in-law, a graduate of a top national university working at a leading company, by their side, my in-laws seemed content. Just a university grad like me, they keep making me feel obligated. I've been sending them money to pay back for the cost of my education. My husband muttered with a hint of self-mockery. He might be feeling guilty for not living up to his parents' expectations. By the way, I said what I said earlier in the heat of the moment, but what should we do about the wedding? I couldn't help but smile. As long as I'm with you, that's all that matters to me. When we went to greet my uncle and his wife and brought up the topic, my aunt exclaimed, "Oh. Then you should take a photo." Following my aunt's suggestion, we decided to have a photo and afterward, only invite close friends for a meal. For someone like me who lost her parents at a young age, having my own family felt like a miraculous happiness. Sometime after we got married, I received a call from my brother-in-law. It seems that the whole family gathers every year for my mother-in-law's birthday. My mom was raised like a princess. It seems her family was quite wealthy back in the day. She grew up with maids, so she still hasn't lost that mindset, even though it's been ages. My husband laughed, sounding a bit annoyed. She gets in a bad mood if her birthday isn't celebrated in a big way. We went to my in-laws with a gift on the day, but I was sent back almost immediately. Oh? I didn't invite you. I want my family to celebrate my birthday. I'm sorry, but could you please leave? The words my mother-in-law threw at me at the entrance clearly told me that she didn't consider me family. The shock was big, but from the next year onwards, only my husband would attend, and I became someone distant from them. Still, I let my husband go to his parents' house because I thought filial piety could only be done while one's parents are alive. Filial piety, huh? I've been thinking of stopping the monthly support once we have kids, but would that be unfilial? I tilted my head, not understanding, and my husband seemed to realize and explained. Yeah. My dad retired early right when I graduated, and he's been unemployed since. But because my mom was raised like a princess, she continues to live lavishly as before. My dad also has a habit of spending too much. With a deep sigh, my husband continued. My dad's retirement funds might be running out. I can't imagine my brother is contributing financially. Despite appearances, their household is barely getting by. I had no idea such circumstances were behind my husband's financial support. If we had a child and I took a break from work, continuing the financial support would be difficult. Thinking about what might happen then made me feel suddenly blue. One day, a year after we got married, my husband received a call from his mother. Hello. Dad fell off his bike and broke a bone. He'll need assistance for a while after he's discharged from the hospital. Could we possibly ask Mia for help? When my mother-in-law called, despite having given up on my relationship with my in-laws, I found myself holding a faint hope. Against my better judgment and my husband's objections, I decided to go help. It was really great that a professional caregiver like Mia could come. Now we can rest easy knowing Dad is in good hands. My mother-in-law greeted me with these words, making me feel genuinely glad I came. However, that feeling was quickly shattered. Although my father-in-law had his right ankle fixed in a cast, he could walk with crutches, so my help was only needed for trips to the bathroom. What are you doing? Hurry up and go shopping for dinner. Clean the bathroom and prepare the meal before you come back. And iron Joseph's shirts too. That's not really related to assisting your husband, is it? What are you talking about? It's common sense to help out your husband's family. Plus, I'm tired because of my husband's condition. It's only natural for you to take care of us. For the 1.5 months until my father-in-law's cast was removed, I ended up going to my in-laws' house after work. It was nothing short of being treated like a convenient housekeeper. Mia, I need you to take care of the garden and clean the windows today. What was supposed to be help in my spare time turned into a daily schedule checked by my mother-in-law, and I was called over first thing on my days off. Mia, make a seafood dish tonight. Make sure to include salmon. What about the money? You're the daughter-in-law, so it's only natural for you to pay. We took you in despite your lack of education, so at least serve us properly. The more I went to my in-laws, the more miserable I felt. Why did I have to be treated this way? Hey, Mia. If you're going shopping, pick up some beer on the way. I prefer meat over fish, so take care of that, will ya? The care for my in-laws alone was enough to frustrate me, but on days when my brother-in-law was around, I truly couldn't understand what I was even doing there. However, since I had insisted on helping against my husband's advice, I couldn't bring myself to tell him in detail about how I was treated upon returning home. Just until the cast is removed. That became my only solace. Hey, have we been spending more money lately? You're not being taken advantage of by my parents, are you? I'm sorry, actually. Pressed for an answer, I finally opened up to my husband about how I was treated at his parents' house. I was surprised to find myself crying uncontrollably as I talked, but it just showed how much stress had built up. Afterward, my husband stepped in and started refusing on my behalf, freeing me from those hellish days. We became distant from my in-laws again, and we were enjoying peaceful days. One day, we were approaching our 3rd wedding anniversary. Shocking news arrived. Hey! My brother is getting married. And he plans to live with our parents after the wedding. Really? Yeah. He's marrying the daughter of his company's director. My dad and mom are thrilled. I guessed the fiancé must be someone who met my in-laws' standards. Thinking she wouldn't be treated like a maid made those miserable memories come flooding back. And my brother asked for advice. They're thinking of rebuilding our house into a duplex for cohabitation. That makes sense. The current house is old, and it would probably be better for his wife. Yeah. And since they'll take over caring for our parents, they're asking if we could help with the rebuilding costs. Honestly, I didn't want to take care of my in-laws anymore. If it were possible, I wanted to leave everything to my brother-in-law's wife. Really, we don't have to take care of your parents at all? If you promise that, I'm willing to say we can cover half the cost. Really? Okay, I'll mention it. After saying that, my husband began to call his brother. Joseph was overjoyed at the offer, grateful to split the cost under those conditions. Being able to settle our responsibility towards my husband's parents with money felt like a happier option for us. A few days later, Joseph called. Hey, about Mom's birthday party next week, just the two of you coming this year. Aren't you sure Mom won't like that? It's fine. It's also a meet and greet with my fiancé that day. Plus, we want to discuss rebuilding the house, involving our parents. Hearing Joseph wanted to talk about the recent proposal soon, we decided to attend my mother-in-law's birthday party. Upon arrival at the in-laws, only 5 chairs were placed around the table in the dining room. Joseph's spot was empty, understandably reserved for his fiancée. However, there was only 1 chair beside my in-laws. Huh? Looks like we're 1 seat short. Your fiancé is coming too, right? Yeah, but the seating is correct. She'll come later. Confused, my husband and I exchanged glances when my mother-in-law chuckled. Who invited this one? I said before, I don't want anyone but family at my birthday party. It felt like hearing the same line from 2 years ago. Sorry, Mom. I invited her. Wanted to clear things up before my fiancé arrives. Joseph addressed me directly with his request. I'd prefer if Mia refrains from joining us at any events other than weddings and funerals from now on. My fiancé is a younger colleague from university, working at a top company. So what? My husband challenged me on my behalf. Joseph smirked, just want Mia to know her place. With no education and no parents, she can't really be part of the family. Plus. He hesitated for a moment but continued. In our neighborhood, it's known that Mia is our housekeeper, so it can't be helped. What? That's ridiculous. Right, if you insist, maybe we can call her back as a housekeeper when our parents need care. My husband's face turned red with anger. Until then, please, stay away from our house. How convenient and self-serving. Is having no degree or parents really something to be ashamed of? Both my father-in-law and mother-in-law nodded in agreement, looking pleased. I held back tears, feeling indignant. We'll be leaving. I won't attend your wedding, Joseph, and if you wish, I'll also decline attending your parents' funerals. My husband gently placed his hand on my back. Let's go. I'll also cut ties from now on. Have a nice life with the 4 of you. As my husband started to walk away, pushing me forward, Joseph called out in panic. Hey, Alex! Wait a minute. There's still something I need to discuss with you. And you have to meet my fiancé. What? I'm not dealing with people who exclude my wife. Forget the previous conversation. Handle it yourself. Hey, wait. My husband, with a surge of anger emanating from him intensely. I could feel it standing next to him, swung the living room door open with a loud bang and started walking towards the entrance. Despite hearing the voices of 3 people calling out my husband's name, we didn't turn back and slammed the iron gate shut as we left. Unbeknownst to us, someone was watching this scene from afar. That night, my husband received several calls from his brother. Hey! Why did you leave today? I couldn't introduce my fiancé, and we didn't finish discussing the house. We left, naturally. After what you said to drive my wife away. It's because you chose such a woman. Anyway, the house discussion doesn't involve Mia. Let's meet and talk properly. My husband remained bitter as he hung up. All right. I'll go to our parents' house this weekend. We'll talk then. After hanging up, he hugged me tightly and whispered, I'll never forgive them. The following week, while I was working at the facility, a family member of Sarah. Sarah is a classy and lovely elderly lady. I had always gotten along, often involving me in conversations during family visits. But today seemed different. Mia, by any chance, do you happen to know Joseph Thompson? Yes, he is my brother-in-law. What about him? I knew it! Joseph is my fiancé. I thought I saw you in front of his house the other day. My heart skipped a beat. To think that Sarah's granddaughter was Joseph's fiancé, and that she had witnessed that day's events, had never crossed my mind. That day, there were only 5 seats prepared at the house. So, I got curious and asked, "What about your brother?" Linda, appearing hesitant, averted her gaze. Then, I asked about his brother, and I was told that his wife is a wicked woman with whom they have no contact. They said his brother was reluctant to return home, so he couldn't make it today. I'm sorry about that. Since my grandmother always speaks well of you, I couldn't believe it. And considering what I saw that day, I wondered if I should tell her the truth. I'm not on good terms with my in-laws. But I think they'll treat you well, Linda, so you don't have to worry. Saying it out loud made me feel sad, as if I was the only one excluded from that family. Perhaps if my husband's wife wasn't me, Joseph could have been a kind and good person. My husband plans to visit his family home this weekend, so maybe you'll have a chance to meet then. Well. Her voice might have trembled towards the end. I quickly excused myself, saying, I have work to do, and left the scene. Standing before Linda, who was welcomed by my in-laws, I couldn't help feeling miserable. This weekend, we were to visit my in-laws again. I didn't want to go, but my husband said, this will be the last time Mia goes to that house. I couldn't say no. Upon our arrival, we were greeted by my in-laws, Joseph, and his fiancée, Linda. This is my fiancée, Linda. She went to the same university as me and is the daughter of the director of my company. Joseph boasted. He must be quite proud. She's beautiful and smart. She agreed to live with my parents out of concern for them. Joseph has chosen a lady truly worthy of our family and himself. Indeed, she's kind and considerate. Their cheerful mood made my heart heavy. Had I never met my husband, perhaps he too could have lived harmoniously with his family. Take a seat. Once we're married, we plan to demolish this house and rebuild it as a duplex. We'll take care of our parents, so we want you to help with the costs. Joseph spread out estimates for the demolition, brochures from home builders, and hand-drawn floor plans on the table. He intended to fill the lot with a large 3-story house. Our offer to pay half seemed to have spurred his greed. Forget what I said last week. That's why we came today. Alex! Enough! My fiancé is here. I felt terribly uncomfortable having this conversation in front of Linda. Let's just listen for today, I suggested, pulling at my husband's sleeve, and he looked at me and smiled. He made up his mind. I'm sorry, but I'm cutting ties with you. I won't sit and talk. I can't be family with people who label me as just a caregiver or maid. No, you misunderstood. When we said that about Mia, we meant we wanted professional advice for our parents' care in the future. That's right. Mia doesn't have any other redeeming qualities, so it can't be helped. I became a caregiver to give back to my caring grandmother and aunt. I take pride in helping the elderly. However, my mother-in-law's words seemed to imply that's all I was good for. Let me make myself clear today. I have no intention of taking care of your parents in the future. What an insolent thing to say! This is why I was against a woman with no parents. I replied, hurt by her blunt words. Yes, I understand. So, as I said before, I won't be showing my face here anymore, so you can rest assured. No matter how many times I hear my mother-in-law's blunt words, I can never get used to them, and they always hurt my heart. My sons, Joseph and Alex, are my pride, graduating from top universities and working at great companies. I thought our old age was secured. To be deceived by a poor, orphaned woman like you. Just divorce Alex and return him. Her anger revealed her true feelings, shocking me though I knew her stance. The word divorce was used directly for the first time. Alex, it's time you faced reality. Is Mia worth making your mother cry? Tears streamed down my face. Mia. My husband's voice trembled with concern. That's when it happened. Joseph, do you really mean that? Linda had been quiet until now, but she started asking Joseph. Do you judge people by their education or parents, Joseph? No, that's not what I meant. Mia has been taking care of my grandmother as a caregiver. She's a wonderful and trustworthy person. I was truly happy to become family with Mia. Linda looked very disappointed and sad. The persona Joseph shows outside must be different. It's not that. I know Mia is an excellent caregiver. She even took care of the house and the garden when my dad needed assistance. But as a family, you had her helping with assistance and even doing the gardening? Well, that's what wives do, right? Linda was shocked, her face spreading with disgust. I'm sorry, but I can't marry Joseph. What? No, don't get me wrong. You wouldn't have to do any of that, Linda. But it's expected of Mia, right? Why is that? Because Linda and Mia come from different backgrounds. My mother-in-law exclaimed loudly, silencing the room. It was probably the worst thing she could have said given the situation. I'm going home. Joseph, I need some time to think about our marriage. What? As Linda stood up, my husband spoke up. We're leaving too. We won't be assisting with the house rebuilding, and we plan to stop the family financial support. Wait a minute. Why is that happening? My father-in-law panicked at the sudden announcement of the end of support. The support we provided until now was possible because Mia supported our living. The assistance for the house rebuilding was supposed to come from her personally. What do you mean? Half of the rebuilding costs? That's a significant amount. It's impossible to save that much while sending money home. The eyes of the three family members focused on me. My parents died in an accident. They were hit by a truck whose driver fell asleep at the wheel, leaving me with insurance money and a large compensation. The three of them stared, shocked. I was planning to provide assistance for the house rebuilding as a daughter-in-law in lieu of not being able to take care of you, as it seemed I was unwelcome. So, that was it. But I've lost that intention now. It seems I'm not suitable to be your daughter-in-law, nor will I be treated as family. My mother-in-law closed her mouth, reminded of the harsh words she had thrown at me earlier. Having said what I needed to, tears no longer came to my eyes. I can't let people who hurt others so easily use what Mia's parents left behind. Joseph's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed. From now on, you'll have to support our parents. If you do that, you won't inherit anything from me. I don't need it. As long as you don't leave any debt for my brother, that's enough for me. What? Debt? At that, Joseph's voice rose in astonishment. Did my in-laws really think they had that much money? Don't you know about our parents' spending habits? My support has turned into helping with their loan repayments now. What? I didn't know that. Plus, Dad has his pension, right? It shouldn't be gone that quickly. How long do you think it's been since Dad left his job? At my husband Alex and Joseph's gaze, my father-in-law twisted his face, quivering his lips. Shut up. It's natural for children to repay their parents. How we use that money is our business. Seriously? It's okay. Hey, calm down. My mother-in-law intervened as the three started to argue, so we began to leave. Wait a minute. I didn't know anything about this. That's right, it's not his fault for not knowing. From now on, we'll take good care of Mia too. So, please use your money for our family as a member. I couldn't help but think how convenient their reasoning was, just as Linda muttered, "You're really scum, aren't you?" Spurred by her words, my emotions erupted. Enough with the insults. I'm not your slave. I don't want to pay to be part of a family like this. The money left by my parents is their love for me. So I can't spend it on people who mock me. The only family I want to cherish is Alex. After I declared this, Alex smiled gently and held my hand. Gripping his hand firmly, the three of us, including Linda, started walking towards the entrance. Wait. Let's talk this over. Please, Linda. If we talk, you'll understand. My mother-in-law chased us to the entrance, but Alex shouted back without turning around. Think about why this happened. I won't come here anymore. Now it's time for my beloved brother to repay his dues. Leaving my stunned mother-in-law behind, Alex slammed the door shut. As we turned for the last time, I saw Joseph sitting down, his face pale behind my mother-in-law. Considering how much they care about appearances, it's unlikely they'd chase us outside. I'm sorry. Just because you knew me. No. Thank you. It's good I saw Joseph's true colors before we married. I couldn't have imagined he was like that. Afterward, the three of us went out for drinks to wash away the day's unpleasantness before heading home. Linda and Joseph eventually called off their engagement. Even if it costs me, I want to break it off, Linda insisted, and Joseph couldn't change her mind. In the end, given Linda was the director's daughter, Joseph felt uncomfortable at the company and resigned. He became a recluse at his parents' home, muttering to himself all day. Linda and I still keep in touch as friends. I wonder if Joseph's marriage wouldn't have been called off if Linda hadn't known me. It pains me a bit to think about it. The only good thing was that the house rebuilding discussion hadn't progressed. If the family had rushed into it without us, who knows what situation they'd be in now. But now, with Alex's support gone and Joseph withdrawing, my in-laws' situation seems dire. Alex! Please, start sending money again. We can't even make loan payments, let alone afford food. We're going to starve at this rate. It's okay. First, stop the luxuries and sell the brand items you three have. Then start working, and things will work out. It'll be a simpler life, though. No! I've never worked a day in my life. And sell my precious brand items. Alex, please help! For my mother-in-law, raised as a lady of leisure, the current situation must be an unbearable humiliation. But it's no longer my concern. Fearing that my in-laws might come after us, we moved away shortly after. My husband's phone is still reachable for now, but that will only be for a little while longer. We plan to move to another state in line with my husband's expected job transfer. Once we're completely detached, we intend to block all contact with them. I heard a while ago that my father-in-law started a job in security, so I'm thinking they'll manage somehow. With our ties to my husband's family cut off and our worries gone, I recently found out I'm pregnant. I hope our child grows up to be compassionate and kind. We're making sure as parents not to impose our dreams or hopes on them, just discussing how we'll take care with each other.